Welcome to the Rising Society podcast. I am Shane Kennedy.
I'm Nico Galliano, the rejected gentleman.
All right, well, we are on Thanksgiving week, so this is going to be a short show in celebration in honor of the holiday, right?
Turkey Day. Yep.
Gobble, gobble, right?
Hated that.
Now, all right, so we have two things that we're going to talk about. One is the escalation in the war in Ukraine, which kind of dovetails to what we talked about last week.
Correct, a little
and then what in the hell is happening in Islamabad? So let's just briefly set the stage for what's happening in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So apparently, in some there are some back channel discussions that are happening between France and the UK, where they're talking about sending troops in directly to Ukraine for them to directly intervene in the war.
Not their troops, mercenaries, right?
Well, mercenaries, and so the UK has said that they probably would not send their own boots on the ground, that they would probably send mercenaries, but the French, under Emmanuel Macron, are actually talking about the possibility of sending the French military in directly.
Dude, I've never seen a group of people that historically get the shit kicked out of them that want to go to war so bad so many times.
Well, you know, the only thing I have to say about this is if these European leaders, because I don't think it's the European people, I think it's these European leaders, if they want a war with Russia, then you know what? They should have it. But the consequence of that on our end should be to totally dissolve NATO.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think we've talked about that before. I'm 100% in agreement with you because it kind of, what do you say, like cockholds or handcuffs us together.
Yep.
With these fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
You know, that are these European leaders. Because I don't think it's the European people either as a whole. I don't think any country likes war or people in general. But who knows? I haven't, not European, haven't been to European, or European, to Europe. So I don't know what the average person says, but I got to imagine it's in, you know, same as the American people. We don't like seeing people die, and we don't necessarily want to go to war. But Biden does have 2 months to fuck this up. So are we on 2 months? Right at 2 months?
I think.
Yeah, he has about 2 months to fuck this up really bad. To where maybe there's not an opportunity for Trump to have as easy negotiating, or a possibility where maybe he won't be in a position where he can fix it. Yeah. Well, I don't know, especially with these European psychopaths doing what they're doing.
Well, and the rumor is that what they want to do is to try to tie Trump's hands for whenever he gets into office, to make it so that it's to get us into a full-blown war so that it's impossible for him to wind things down over there. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the thing. Look, at the end of the day, these European countries like France and the UK and Germany and everything, hey, look, my attitude is you do you. Mm-hmm. You know, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, hey, you do you. If you guys want to go to war with Russia, fine. That's not a war that our blood and treasure should be spilled for, right?
100%. Like, these people can't even point to most of these areas on a fucking map. You know what I mean? And just to see, like, especially with the UN, I think you brought up a good point. If we're going to be tethered to them, to where we're responsible for their actions, I think, one, we either need to leave, like you said, dissolve the UN, or I don't think they should be able to make rash decisions as a country, being part of, as a country, like they're solvent countries, right? So they can make a decision if they want help or not. Yeah, but if you're going to make a decision, that decision can't be at the risk of the consequence of the rest of us.
Right.
That's supposed to be a defensive thing. So let's say Russia attacked France. Then we could all justifiably say we need to come to France's aid, correct?
Yep.
Because they're part of this agreement. If France attacked Russia...
And then they retaliate.
How the fuck do we have to be recipients of that consequence?
And you know that they'll invoke Article 5, which would require us to get involved.
Correct, which is
They would
insane.
automatically catapult us into war, which is crazy.
That's craziness.
You know, the way I see NATO, I view NATO as being like a giant military insurance policy. Mm-hmm. You know, and the guarantor of it is not France, it's not the UK, it's not Germany, it's not Italy, it's America.
Exactly.
You know, we're the ones that cover it. It's our blood, it's our treasure. it's our nation's fortune that will be put on the line to guarantee the policy that's been extended to all these crazy European countries. And so the thing is, what I would say is the same line of reasoning that says that an insurance company is allowed to cease coverage of high risk homes that are on the beach, or let's say high risk homes that are in an earthquake prone zone in California that may be super prone to like fires and stuff. An insurance company may say at the end of the policy, "Hey, we're not going to renew your coverage. Sorry." I think that's the position that America's in now regarding NATO and Europe. What we should do is say, "Look, sorry, you guys, we're not going to renew your coverage." Because you guys represent a moral hazard, more of a moral hazard than the ocean or hurricanes or something do to homes that are on the beach, or earthquakes or wildfires due to homes in California.
And see, that's the crazy thing is the beautiful metaphor there is because it is like a big insurance policy, but the only problem is that we're the reassurers, right? So they have this insurance policy. Who's going to bail us out if the bill comes and we can't cover it? You know what I mean? So
the French will, right? Or the Germans.
And that's the weird thing.
Are the Greeks gonna come and bail us out?
Yeah, with all the fucking money they have. That's the crazy thing about this. It's like a reverse insurance policy, right? It has all the effects of an insurance policy, except you don't have to pay us. We'll pay you.
Yep.
Like, we're the ones giving all these countries fucking money. I don't understand that. That would be like everyone at State Farm, yeah, come get car insurance with us, but we're going to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's not a business model.
And you can go do whatever you want because no matter what, you obligate us to pay for all of your mistakes.
Exactly. And people are like, well, they're not businesses. These are countries. It's like,
It's the same principle.
Don't be naive.
Yep.
Don't be a child.
Yep.
All right. It's the exact same principle. So it just drives me crazy, man. You got these Europeans and they have a history of pissing on people's legs all the time. Now, I'm not saying America doesn't. Okay. Don't.
Well, I think this is the thing is,
but at least that's our country.
Well, if somebody gets mad at us for nipping at them, we have the ability to punch them back and punch them back hard. The French or the Germans or the UK, if the Russians get mad at them because they're needling their ankle or something, and the Russians retaliate against them, you're not dealing with America's ability to retaliate. And in fact, that's what they're relying on. They're relying on provoking a direct war between America and Russia because they just hate Russia.
And here's my favorite thing, and this has become like common knowledge. It's almost like common narrative, and it's accepted that the Russians, their military is nowhere big as people think. It's actually a laughable military. It's a laughable world economy. It's not a real threat and all this stuff. Then why the fuck do all these countries have to get involved?
Right.
If it really is the clown show and these Russians are getting massacred in droves and the Ukrainians are whooping so much fucking ass, then why do they need so much help?
Yeah, then the Ukrainians don't need another big allocation of weapons and money, right?
Yeah, why do we need to send more money, more weapons, and why are countries entertaining putting boots on ground? Boots on the ground. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand the concept that we're not taking Russia seriously as a threat when in all intents and purposes, especially in modern times, we should be looking at Russia as a potential ally, bringing them into the fold. But we're almost at a point where
bring them into the defense framework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But instead we're making enemies out of them.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that concept. People are like, well, they don't actually have any infrastructure, and all these companies pulled out and they don't have the technology or the infrastructure to replace the parts they have. They'll deteriorate and these tariffs just take time. And over the next 10 years, Russia's just going to be a war-torn shithole.
Well, we're like 2.5 years after, or we're 2.5 years past the point where the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that Russia would cease to exist as a country because of the sanctions, right?
It's insane to me, man.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stupid people doing stupid things, trying to get, and the stupid people in this case are the Europeans. But guess what? They have a new daddy now, and the new daddy is not at the house yet.
Wow.
but he is on his way. And his name is Donald J. Trump.
He's not even a new daddy.
Right.
It's just daddy, but then mom's kind of stepped out on him. They separated for a while, but guess what? They're getting back together.
Yep.
Daddy's coming home.
And and this is the thing. Daddy Biden told them, you guys can do whatever you want. You guys can walk all over me.
Stepdaddy Biden.
Yep. Yeah. Stepdaddy Biden. And Stepdaddy Biden he's crazy. He's out of his mind and everything. And Stepdaddy Biden is saying, you guys can do whatever you want. If you want to go to war, you can go to war. You can do whatever you want. Hey, and just remember, Bucko, I'm a dynamo, And now Donald J. Trump is moving in, and he's going to do what he did last time. He's going to tell these countries, you guys need to start paying up. You need to start paying the entirety of your NATO premium. Otherwise, we're not going to cover you. Because, that's another thing. They're supposed to be spending minimum of 2% of their GDP
2%.
on defense, and they haven't been kicking in what they were supposed to, with the exception of Poland and I think the Baltic countries.
Yeah, I was a little disingenuous earlier where I used my metaphor because they are supposed to pay 2%, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not fucking doing that.
The majority
and a lot of times they get bailouts.
Yeah, the majority of the countries in NATO are not doing that.
Correct.
And so the thing is, Trump is going to go over there and he's going to force them to start kicking in. And I think it's a beautiful thing because those are the countries that are going to be the sitting ducks the most, that are going to, the countries that are backstopped by NATO, which really means that they're backstopped by America militarily. Those are the countries that I think Trump should and will hit with the hardest tariffs whenever he gets in. Absolutely. Because the extra tariffs that, maybe assess some extra tariffs on like German cars and I don't know, like French wine or something, slam them with tariffs and devote some of that money to lightening the burden, the financial burden that NATO places on the American people. Because obviously a lot of these governments, they're not willing to do it themselves.
Absolutely
they just don't
not.
have the will to do it.
They don't have the fucking desire.
Yeah, they don't care because you know what? They're essentially getting a free ride.
Exactly. If you went to lunch every day and your fucking little lunch card was paid up and full and you knew you could just keep running it no matter how much negative balance is on it, you could just keep running it. You're going to have lunch every day on that card, man. Why wouldn't you? Free food. That's all these countries are doing. Just off the tit of America.
Yep. And the thing is, I guess to kind of wrap up the Ukraine thing, this is Thanksgiving week, and I'm just going to say I'm thankful that Donald Trump will be president on January the 20th is when he'll be inaugurated. And I'm thankful that he's going to be winding all this shit down. And you know what? I hope that a lot of them are whining and crying and complaining and everything because, you know what? They haven't cared about any of us that have been advocating for peace all this time.
Nope.
They haven't given one damn bit of concern to any of us that don't want World War III, that don't want a nuclear war, that don't want to escalate this thing. They've just told us to shut up and just go sit in the corner. We're in charge. Well, guess what? A new daddy is coming in, and he's gonna go in there, and I hope he goes in there like a wrecking ball. I really do. It's what those people deserve.
Absolutely.
Closing thoughts.
Thanksgiving coming up, Big T Day. I would like to say that I'm also thankful that I did not have a lot of faith in it, and then you and I talked about it a couple months before it happened, and I started kind of reading the atmosphere, and I would like to say I'm very thankful that I get to see what the next 4 years will transpire in the political climate. And I'm hoping it leads to a morality change and shift in this country that sticks. Because I would like to see millennials take that what do you call it, where you carry the little...
Oh, like carry the torch?
Baton. The torch, carry the torch, and give guidance to Gen Z. Yeah. Unlike the guidance that we had from Gen X, which was a little weird. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity. So time to get to work. 4 years. Let's see what happens. Thankful for that.
Well, and then the final thing we'll talk about is Islamabad, which is the capital of Pakistan.
Islamabad.
Yeah. Islamabad. Now, I'm not sure where that name came from. I'm guessing the British probably.
It's got to be the
Yeah,
British.
it probably came from the British.
Got to be the British.
But so apparently, I don't really know much about it, but apparently there were a bunch of protesters in the Capitol, and the government fired on the protesters and killed 100 of them, and then injured a lot more.
Why?
Truthfully, I don't even know. So what I do know about Pakistan is that our CIA has been trying to overthrow that government for a while. So I'm not sure if this is which this just happened. So I'm sure by the time this video is up, people will probably know a lot more about what's going on. So please,
This just happened today.
please comment on this video and kind of fill in the rest of the story.
Absolutely. I don't know about this. This happened today.
Yeah, it just happened today. Like it just happened a matter of hours ago. But apparently, so I guess there was like a big political protest or something in the streets of the Capitol, and the government fired on them.
Do we know what they were protesting?
Not a clue.
Oh, so this is like just how we don't really know much on
But
this yet.
but the thing is, there have been a lot of big protests. There have been coups in the history of Pakistan and stuff, and a lot of it has turned out to be the work of our intelligence agencies. So it would not surprise me if this was some kind of a movement on one side or the other that was stirred by our people.
Well, you said our CIA is really been kind of mingling over there recently. What are they? You said they're trying to overthrow them. Do you know the reason for that?
Well, so Pakistan. So during the Cold War, you had something called the non-aligned movement, which Pakistan, India, and several of the African countries were all part of this. This movement where they would say, we're not aligned with the Americans, we're not aligned with the Soviets. We're just kind of aligned with our own interests.
It's called the unaligned.
Yeah, yep, the unaligned movement. And so what they would say is, look, if the Soviets can offer us a better deal on wheat, then we'll take them up on that deal. If the Americans can offer us a better deal on cars, then we'll take them up on that. But we're not going to subordinate ourselves to one side or the other. We're just gonna take advantage of the best that each side offers.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah,
from a country's growth standpoint. Yeah.
So the thing is, Pakistan is a country that is uniquely unstable as economically because they're very there's a lot of food instability there. They have to import a lot of their food. They have to import a lot of their energy, and so China has been going over there and building out a lot of infrastructure, and the Chinese have been gaining a lot of influence in Pakistan.
I imagine so.
And so we have been going over there trying to. So the Chinese have been going over there and doing a lot of deals with them and saying, look, if you allow us to have some influence in your country, we'll build you a brand new port, or we'll build you some factories or refineries or mines or something like that.
And did the Chinese government hold interest in these things?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But they've been very direct deals, And then what our government has been doing is we go over there and we just try to manipulate their elections. We go over there and try to manipulate. We try to manipulate things in a very, very kind of like soft, clandestine way.
Okay.
So and the thing is, at the end of the day, I think a lot of the ways that our CIA has operated throughout the years, I think a lot of that has become I think it's pretty widely accepted now, that like the CIA probably murdered President Kennedy, probably was involved in murdering Robert F. Kennedy.
Moving illegal drugs in the country.
Yeah, trafficking drugs. Google Air America. That was a CIA drug smuggling operation that originated in Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam. So the thing is, I think a lot of that stuff was scoffed and laughed at back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, and was called conspiracy theories and everything.
Now it's just common knowledge.
Yeah, now it's just common knowledge, and it's understood. And there are a lot of declassified documents that speak to all of these things. Especially the CIA going into like the hood in LA during the 80s and dealing crack. Like Freeway Ricky Ross. Who was like the Walmart of crack in Los Angeles. The distributors that he would get his drugs from were CIA people, and that was one of the ways that they made a lot of their money. So the thing is, we're living in one of the things I like about us living in the time that we're living in, which maybe this would be a good topic for us to talk about in another podcast, is that the ability the ability of the elites and the ability of the powerful to impose one universal narrative across the entire country by means originally
pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, but by means originally of there only being like 3 television channels, like back in the 60s and 70s, and then cable, they largely controlled the large swath of variety of channels. Like, you had a few companies that owned almost all of them. But now with the internet, with YouTube, with Rumble, with Twitter and everything, the ability of elites to control the narrative the way that they did before, it's all cracking up. And I think it's great. I think this represents a paradigm shift in the history of our country, and maybe even a paradigm shift in the history of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know what? Actually, that's the thing I'm the most thankful for, is that the ability of the powerful and the ability of the elites to control the conversation and to dominate the formation of opinions of the public, it's cracking up.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it crack up even more.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yep.
A lot of instability in the status quo of how it's been.
And that's something I'd love for us to do a whole episode talking about that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
and maybe we could get Sebastian in on that so that we could get a little bit, so we can mix a little bit of nonsense into it.
Yeah, so we can get a little silliness in there.
Yep.
A little. I mean, dude, it's nice because like I feel like you represent, a very unique part of the population, or not population, not people, where you have thought a lot of a certain thought process, right? Mm-hmm. I represent a nice thought process, and it's just nice to have a representation for like clowns. You know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
So when he's here, you're just like clowns check.
And really, they're very underrepresented now that the circus is not as big as it used to be.
Circus is gone. You haven't heard of fucking Ronald McDonald in forever.
Okay, so did they get rid of Clown College?
Clowns are. Dude,
you know what?
Done.
You know what? We'll ask Sebastian about that the next time that he's on.
Very first question we asked him.
And he'll be able to clarify everything regarding clowns.
I can't even tell you the last time I've seen a clown.
Yeah.
Like, so they're all just sitting at home, unemployed and shit. Mm-hmm. Fucking probably still got their fucking huge shoes on and the little honkers.
Oh, well, and probably every few minutes or something, they honk their nose just to make sure it's still working.
And it's probably it's probably not even loud anymore. It's all worn out. So that might be the last beacon of hope, is watching Sebi come in here and just say ridiculous, crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, they tune in.
He'll pull up in his little wind-up clown car,
We have 17 viewers, and 13 of them are probably clowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
That's the thing. We respect the clowns, and that's the reason that we want to have Sebastian on more often.
I'm not turning away viewers.
Yeah, because we want to give the clowns a voice.
Exactly.
Well...
All our government officials, actually, they have a voice.
Exactly.
So clowns are covered.
Well, really, like the defeat of Kamala, that was really a defeat for the clowns, wasn't it? a defeat of the clowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So it's a good thing. We'll have them on.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Everybody.
We'll talk to you soon, and we'll have one or two more before Christmas.
Sure. For sure. And I think we're gonna have a blockbuster. I think the final podcast of the year is going to be a blockbuster.
It's going to be a blockbuster. I think we might even have 2 guests on that one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be beautiful.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Love you guys. Take care.
All right.